Chapter 51. The Sun family didn't come to look for trouble, but Yi Tian still didn't let his guard down. During this time, he also inquired about the situation of the Sun family. After learning about it, he had to admit that the Sun family was strong. But for Yi Tian, the Sun family was even more like an experience package. That's right, the XP pack. Because many martial artists of the Sun family actually had a talent for swordsmanship. This was simply incredible. Yi Tian had long known that his parents had the same special talent, and his heirs had a certain chance of inheriting this kind of special talent. But he never expected that the Sun family would be so mad that they would marry internally. My cultivation talent has reached the top level, and it is useless to copy some advanced cultivation talents, so it is better to copy the Sun family's sword talent next. Maybe I can transform my sword talent and successfully upgrade to a high-level sword talent. Yi Tian decided. After another 20 or so days, Yi Tian found an opportunity, and finally secretly copied Sun Feng's medium sword talent while he was wandering around. It's a pity that this time, the replication and fusion did not make Yi Tian's sword talent transform and upgrade. In the past month, Yi Tian once again discovered a young man from the Sun family with a medium sword talent. The other party was not yet 15 years old and had not yet cultivated, but the sword talent could be copied. After successfully copying the opponent's medium sword talent, Yi Tian successfully upgraded his sword talent under the fusion. Knife talent, advanced. Looking at the talent of advanced sword skills, Yi Tian was very excited. This was a high-level sword talent, which could definitely allow him to cultivate his bronze-level sword skills to a consummation level. Once a bronze-level sword skill reached the consummation level, his combat power would undergo an earth-shaking transformation. But if you wanted to complete the bronze-level sword technique, you must reach the realm of sword intent. In the past, due to the limitation of sword talent, he was always stuck in the realm of sword perfection, and he couldn't comprehend a trace of sword intent. But now, the sword talent had been upgraded, and the sword intent could definitely be realized. Enlightenment. Yi Tian held a knife, sat cross-legged, and comprehended the knife intent through the knife. Buzz. 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 In Yi Tian's mind world, the knife in his hand seemed to really come to life, pulling him into a wonderful world. This was the world of knives. Time passed slowly. He didn't know how long it had been, when Yi Tian suddenly had a kind of enlightenment, and his understanding of the realm of the sword instantly improved to a higher level. Suddenly, a wisp of sword intent appeared and manifested on Yi Tian's body. The sword intent was the will of the knife, which condensed the knife to the extreme, and formed the knife intent under the perception of the knife realm. At this moment, Yi Tian finally got started, and realized a wisp of sword intent. Although it was still very weak, he was indeed stepping into the realm of sword intent. In the next few days, Yi Tian tried his best to comprehend the sword intent, and as for other cultivation, he put it down for the time being. Because in terms of cultivation, he had stepped into the extreme of elite martial artists, and his physical strength had reached 100,000 caddies. If he broke through, he would be at the level of a great martial artist. He didn't want to step into the great martial artist level for the time being, because the progress was too fast. Although the strength of the body had reached the limit of an elite martial artist, the tempering of the body had not really been completed. Yi Tian was going to refine the skin, meat, bones, and blood exchange again to make the foundation more stable, and he firmly believed that there would definitely be benefits to doing so. Otherwise, if he pursued strength, the foundation would not be solid after all. 5 days passed. Yi Tian ended his cultivation of comprehending the sword intent. A little bit of sword intent is not bad. Yi Tian exhaled and said. The realm of knife intent was also divided in detail, from a point of knife intent entry, to 1 knife intent, to 3 into a small knife intent, 7 into a large knife intent, and 10 into a complete sword intent. However, it was very difficult to comprehend the sword intent. Even if he had a high level of sword talent, it was unrealistic to quickly improve the sword intent realm. Yi Tian obviously sensed that after the sword intent realm reached one point, the speed of comprehension slowed down a lot. For him at present, it was not cost-effective to fully comprehend the sword intent realm, and 1 point of the sword intent realm was enough for the time being. Let's still practice the bronze-level sword skill Shadow Kill and the bronze-level sword skill Qingfeng Slash. Yi Tian decided. These 2 bronze-level sword skills he had already cultivated to the peak realm of Dacheng, and he was only 1 step away from entering the consummation level. Now, the sword intent had been completed, and the consummation realm couldn't stop him. It only took 1 day for Shadow Kill to successfully advance to the consummation realm. Then, it took more than half a day, and Qingfeng Slash also stepped into the realm of perfection. So far, Yi Tian had mastered 2 bronze-level sword skills of the consummation realm. On this day, Yi Tian began to sort out his combat strength. My physical strength has reached 100,000 jin of strength, and the power of 1 million jin can be reached under the increase of high strength, which is equivalent to the ultimate strength of a great martial artist. If you add the 6-fold increase in attack power of Qingfeng Slash, it is equivalent to the power of 6 million caddies, which is equivalent to the attack power of the Grand Master, and the attack power of the ordinary Grand Master is not as good as mine. In addition, my speed has reached 12 times the speed of sound, which exceeds the limit of the great martial artist, and should be equivalent to the speed of the Grand Master. Yi Tian estimated that except for his defense, he was completely equivalent to a Grand Master. However, although he had a weak defense, he had a top healing talent, and even if he was injured due to weak defense, he could recover quickly. Even if I fight with a real Grandmaster powerhouse, I won't be half a point weaker. Yi Tian was extremely confident. Of course, Yi Tian had not yet encountered a suitable defensive talent, and if he did, he would make up for this shortcoming. According to the calculation, in another month, I will be able to refine my whole body to the extreme, and then I will be able to advance to the great martial artist level with peace of mind. Yi Tian thought with some expectation about how far his combat power would soar if he was promoted to a great martial artist. He was afraid that even many grandmasters would not be able to withstand his blow. The Sun family. In the past few months, the Sun family's business had gradually expanded, not only buying many shops, but also completely opening up a resource supply line, which could be regarded as initially taking root in the Linhai base. And Sun Feng couldn't wait to find his father, Sun Qing, at this time. "Father, isn't it time to do something to Yi Tian?" Sun Feng asked urgently. 3 days later, I will personally kill Yi Tian. Sun Qing promised. "Thank you, father." Sun Feng was overjoyed, and he had already begun to fantasize about Yi Tian's fate, and couldn't help laughing. Chapter 52. Sun Feng was very aware of his father's strength. Although he was only in the early stage of a great martial artist, and his physical strength was only 150,000 caddies, his father also had a medium sword talent. He had cultivated 2 bronze-level sword skills to the peak realm of Dacheng, and there was an intermediate yuan weapon in his hand. The combination of knife skills and weapons could increase his strength by 4 times. Therefore, his father was equivalent to a great martial artist with a strength of 600,000 caddies, and under the increase of Yuan Li, he could attack with a strength of 1.2 million caddies. In comparison, he could only hit 300,000 caddies of attack power, which was much worse than his father. But the biggest gap between elite warriors and great warriors was not strength, but speed and defense. The speed of the great warrior was much faster than that of the elite warrior, and the defense was also much stronger, so the difference in strength was very large. If his father wanted to kill him, one move would be enough to kill him in an instant. HMPH, what's the use of Yi Tian's speed no matter how fast it is? His strength is insufficient. His speed can exceed the limit of my eyesight, but in the great martial artist's eyesight, it is just a little faster. With my father's strength, one move is enough to kill him in seconds. Sun Feng had no worries in his heart. He just waited quietly for Yi Tian's death. 3 days passed. This day, in the morning, Sun Qing walked out of Sun's house and went directly to Yi Tian's residence. He did not hide his actions in the slightest, because he knew very well that he couldn't hide the matter of killing Yi Tian at all. It was better to kill Yi Tian generously, so that he could deter the quartet and announce the power of the Sun family. Central Garden Complex. Boom! 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 A momentum belonging to the great warrior dispersed, causing many residents in the Central Garden community to panic. This momentum was simply arrogant to the extreme, and it didn't take the rules of the coastal base into account at all. Great warrior! Yi Tian opened his eyes and looked not far away. He had a feeling that this great martial artist was here for him, and this momentum was mixed with a powerful sword momentum, obviously a great martial artist with a talent for sword skills. Sun family, Yi Tian muttered. He thought that the Sun family had given up dealing with him, but he didn't expect it to be just a belated revenge. Sun family, it seems that you are looking for death. Yi Tian flashed anger and killing intent. At this time, Yi Yu had already gone to school, and he was the only one in the family, and he was not afraid of affecting Yi Yu. The speed of the great martial artist was very fast. 1 second he was still outside the central garden community, and the next moment he came to Yi Tian's villa. Under the exploration of spiritual power, Sun Qing discovered Yi Tian's traces, and Yi Tian naturally saw Sun Qing. Sun Feng's father, Sun Qing. Yi Tian was not surprised. After all, with the strength he showed, elite martial artists couldn't deal with him, so they naturally had to send great martial artists. At the same time that Yi Tian looked at Sun Qing, he also activated his copying talent, and instantly checked Sun Qing's talent. Human, Sun Qing. Cultivation talent, medium. Knife talent, medium. From the perspective of talent, Sun Qing's talent was very average, only a medium cultivation talent, and being able to cultivate to the point of being a great martial artist was already the limit. But he had a medium sword talent, and he must have cultivated bronze-level sword skills such as Qingfeng Slash, and his combat effectiveness was bound to be comparable to that of a great martial artist. The strength is good, but it's a pity that I have to die. Yi Tian said darkly. Yi Tian, die. Sun Qing was very crisp and slashed at the villa. He saw a cyan sword slashing through the void, powdering the outer wall of the villa, and slashing towards Yi Tian. How dare you destroy my villa? Yi Tian was furious. He smashed Sun Qing's knife with a knife, and his body moved, and he came to the outside of the villa, so fast that Sun Qing couldn't react. Sun Qing's speed was only 1 or 2 times the speed of sound at most, which was too much worse than Yi Tian, who had 12 times the speed of sound. Where could he see Yi Tian's movements clearly? Not good. Sun Qing's face changed, knowing that he had underestimated Yi Tian. The speed was beyond his imagination, and the powerhouses at the peak of the great martial artists in the clan did not have such a fast speed. Knife curtain. Sun Qing's blade turned, and layers of knife gas turned into a knife curtain, sealing and protecting him. This was also a bronze-level sword skill, and it was a defensive bronze-level sword skill, which was equivalent to adding a layer of defense. This kind of defensive sword skill was obtained by him by chance, and it was very precious, enough to defend against the attack power of the great martial artist in the middle and even late stages. Broken. Yi Tian slashed over with a sword, secretly urging the high-level strength talent. A knife comparable to a full blow from the Grandmaster instantly shattered Sun Qing's knife curtain. But the next moment, Yi Tian's knife was broken. Not because Sun Qing's knife curtain was too strong, but because the quality of Yi Tian's knife was too poor. This knife was just a very ordinary Yuan weapon knife, just a low-level Yuan force knife weapon, and it belonged to the general level among the low-level Yuan force knife weapons. It couldn't withstand the power of the Grandmaster level at all, so it was shattered. Although the knife was broken, its attack power was not reduced too much. He saw that the broken blade continued to attack according to inertia, and in a blink of an eye, Sun Qing's body was pierced, and a dense knife edge appeared on Sun Qing's body. Grandmaster. Sun Qing stared at Yi Tian incredulously, and the word Grandmaster spit out of his mouth, and remorse filled his heart. If he knew that Yi Tian had a Grandmaster-level attack power, he would not have come to retaliate at all, and even sacrifice his son. But now, it was too late. Offended Yi Tian, the Sun family was completely finished, and he was the sinner of the Sun family. Consciousness gradually dissipated, and the body turned into a corpse and fell. The quality of the knife is so bad. Yi Tian looked at the broken knife, a little helpless. Immediately, his gaze was fixed on Sun Qing's knife. The knife was not damaged at all under the impact just now, not even a chip. Picking up Sun Qing's knife, Yi Tian flicked it lightly, and the sound of metal echoed in the air, which was very pleasant. Good knife. This knife should be an intermediate Yuanli knife weapon. Yi Tian guessed. Then, he groped around Sun Qing's body again and found a secret book, the knife curtain. This cheap book was lucky not to be shattered by the fragments of the knife and was preserved intact. Yi Tian knew that this was a defensive bronze-level sword technique that Sun Qing had just used, and it was extremely valuable. Looking at Sun Qing's corpse, he couldn't help but sigh. My son is a boy who gives money, gives bronze-level sword skill cheats, and sends advanced cultivation talents. In order to thank the Sun family's father and son for their contributions, Yi Tian gave them 2 words: good people.